Hello, you are watching Things That Don't Make Sense. Oh, and this broadcast will be talking about a lot of things in this life that don't really make sense at all. So we gotta discuss them. Okay. Things that don't make total sense is, how come they tell us that Columbus discovered America but there were natives here before us? That's the things that don't make sense, that make sense, don't make sense to other people. See, this is almost like one piece of the puzzle they're just throwing away and trying to fit in another piece of the puzzle. Trying to sort of mask it and glue it together to make it look like it fits, but it really doesn't fit. Things that don't make sense, do make sense, don't make sense, okay? How come is it that they tell us one thing but tell us the other? They try to force us Common Core type of work on our kids. Things that don't make sense that they force us to make sense of. This is the things that make sense, doesn't make sense, don't make sense. See the type of confusing stuff they try to do? The psychological tricks that they're pulling. When I'm saying the things that don't make sense, do make sense, don't make sense. That's basically what the U.S. government does when they tell you one thing, but they're really lying. And they see what I'm saying? They trick you for these psychological tricks. It's called a brainwashing, and when someone's brainwashed, they are programmed to think a certain way. Why do you think a TV show is called a program? Why do you think they put symbols in our shows? And why do you think they have all these type of New World Order, satanic stuff in our shows? A program in itself means we're being programmed into the matrix. I don't know if some of you have taken the red pill, which is the truth, but I know most of you must have taken the blue pill. It's very sickening in society how they give us all these medications that don't even work, that were mostly created in the lab. Things that don't make sense, that make sense, that try to make sense to us. It's very weird. See what I'm doing right here when I'm saying things that don't make sense, does make sense, don't make sense? That's the type of brainwashing they're trying to put on you. They want to ban, they have banned weed before, and it's still kind of banned, but people are just finding out that weed is actually quite helpful with people with depression, cancer, and HIV. And it's safer because some people have taken other medications that have got them addicted. So there's the money circle in the RX, which is the pharmaceuticals. One side of the circle, one area of the circle says make us sick, and then the other half of the circle says makes us money if we make people sick. So there's a circle in this. As long as we're sick, they're making money. Why does medication have to be hundreds of thousands of dollars? Why does medication have to be so expensive? Why can't we just cure ourselves naturally? Well, the answer for that is they wouldn't make money. If we were not sick, they don't make money. If we weren't sick, they wouldn't make money. Okay, I'm back. And also what I'm discussing on the things that don't make sense, do make sense, doesn't make sense. They try to confuse us. Like the tactic I was doing now, like saying the things that don't make sense, do make sense, that doesn't make sense, do make sense, some make sense to other people, doesn't make sense to other people, does make sense. So, the political elites want to control who's on the news. They want to control who's the winners, who's the losers. And they create fake news. CNN has been caught faking murder scenes with fake tape, and then they have caused fake riots before, and then they've actually started some, thanks to George Soros. But one piece of the puzzle is missing, but there's half of it they're telling you. And the other pieces could be right in front of you, but you're too brainwashed to see it. If you really think your government cares about you, they really don't care about you. We're just numbers. We're not our names. We're our social security numbers. They try to censor us. And people say, "This is a free country, man. Stop with your theories." I'll stop with my theories when we actually have freedom. That's what I would say to that person. So, we don't actually live in a free country. We're not free to practice our religion fully, and we don't have that much freedom of speech. Define a free country if you know what a free country even is. There's no such thing, because that's what the elitists were trying to program you. They're trying to program you that you have freedom, so you don't see the lizard agenda that's going on in society nowadays. CNN, MSNBC, those stations just lie, but they force it down people's throats. And things that don't make sense do make sense, don't make sense. Why is it that they tell us that global warming is actually a thing? It isn't. There's something else going on that they're covering up. Like in Alaska, there's this place called HAARP. You look it up. It's the High Frequency Active Aurora Program, and they have messed with the weather, and they use a ionospheric instrument that they can use in order to control the weather. But they just don't want to tell you that. If they told you that, then we would know the truth. And they'll just tell you things. If we tell you this, the society will probably go in a big panic. Well, we need to fight for a proper government again. We need a new revolution. We need to fight not just for outside freedom, but we need to fight for online freedom. Let's start an online revolutionary war, where we can fight for our freedom, where we can fight for our basic rights, where we can fight to have a voice, where we can say what we want. And sometimes people say things that are offensive. Sure, there might be some people that say things that are offensive. I might not like what they say, but I'll respect their right to speak. But the Constitution is just a piece of paper. It means nothing now. So, what they don't teach you is that there are more going on than the eye can see. They hide things on you, but sometimes what the eye can't see is what we need to look for. We need to fight for truth. We need to fight against these elite. Hashtag delete the elite. So, politicians are only there to give us the illusion that we have freedom. We don't actually have real freedom. And that's what I'm trying to tell you now, though. We don't have real freedom. It's just the brainwashing that they have programmed us to think. What we think is also, some of the stuff that we think are not our thoughts at all. It's just programmed thoughts by the elites. Some Americans think that... I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think like a brainwashed person, but I'm not a brainwashed person, so it's kind of hard. So, I'm not in the Matrix. I'm in reality. Most Americans think that there's such a thing as climate change. Not a chance. Climate change is not a thing. So, it's the government messing with the weather, and for the vibrations that they set off and all the chemtrails in the skies. Don't you think that has an effect on the earth? Don't you think that spraying chemicals like fluoride, like lead, like mercury, all those come down? It rains down on our crops, it rains down on the trees, and it also rains down on our environment. This is a very serious thing because it also enables more diseases for us. So we have to, like I said, as long as we are sick, the pharmaceutical companies are reaching millions and billions and trillions, more than We have. Have you ever heard the saying, if you're rich, you live forever? That's kind of true, because if you're rich, then you can afford to be healthy. If you're poor, then you're most likely going to be unhealthy. How about all the GMOs in our food? That's a way they're trying to poison us. It's not the poison that's just going to kill us instantly. It's poison that's going to slowly make us sick until we die. So, you see the circle now, guys? It's a very big circle that's been blurred out and almost ripped up and thrown in the trash. But we can't see it, though. We can't see it because we have been programmed. Come on, guys. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, guys. See what our country and see what our world is coming to. Guys, you got to wake up, guys. You have to. Because if you don't wake up now, we won't have any opportunities later, and we'll later regret it. And they will later regret it if we don't fight for our freedom online, as well as in real life. The reason why nowadays people don't care about this kind of stuff is because kids would rather play video games all day. They would rather just sit down on an Xbox playing Fortnite or Minecraft or GTA 5, but they won't want to care about what's happening in the world around them. It's because the elites have made these video games. They have helped these companies reach billions, so we can be brainwashed and not care about basic freedom. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that remember in 2008 when Edward Snowden said that they have been spying on us and stuff? That right there displays that we don't actually have real freedom. We don't have real freedom. We don't. They're spying on us. Do you know that the government has the ability to listen to you for your cell phone via they also can listen to you through automobile vehicles. I'm going to think outside the box and think about other places the government can spy on you from. Think about your light bulb. What happens if there's something in it that they're listening to you through your light bulb? What happens if they're listening to you through your outlets, your plugging outlets? What happens if they're listening to you? Wait one sec, guys. I have to do something. Another way that the government could be listening to us is maybe think about power lines. What happens if there's a special wire that they could use that they could use for listening? Little microbes of microphone bits and listening devices that they could install into our power lines, that they could listen to us from 20 feet away or 40 feet away from power lines. I don't know, but they could also install cameras and lights. They could install cameras. In some cars, there are even some cameras. How do you know that the government isn't watching you for those cars? This is the things that don't make sense make sense to some people, but doesn't. But I'm saying is that the government doesn't care about your freedom. If they cared about our freedom, they wouldn't watch us all the time. That they wouldn't listen to us 24/7. But they say, some of them say, we're too busy to listen to you 24/7. But they are listening to you. This concludes my broadcast. I'll make another video again. Thank you guys. Please subscribe and I'll make more videos.